Excuse me. November 8, 2024. I'm glad you told me, Sandra, about sending a donation to Max through my PayPal, because I need an assistant to tell me to, okay, now do this. You know, so many people think I'm all about money. I forget to check PayPal, so I will I'll get it to him. In fact, let me bring up his GoFundMe. If I can remember, I did bookmark it. Weather. Yes, I did remember. Okay, so Max's GoFundMe. Max, who lives in Western North Carolina, he got affected by the floods. He's now living in Max, help me out, I think a RV. He is absolutely needing help. So the link to Max's GoFundMe is in the chat. And give what you can. Every little bit helps. Absolutely. But after the live, I'll send Max your donation to his GoFundMe. Okay. Hello, Angelos and Andrew Cruz and Geofactor 3. Geofactor 3, could you email me? Is there any, obviously, I don't have much money, but if there is a way that I can help you out with even just a small donation, if you have a PayPal account, or I can send it through Walmart. So let me know. So Rage Against the Machine and Tony Punch, hi. And Alicia DeMoss, Julio L24, thank you. Oh, happy birthday. What do you mean you're live now? Are you doing a live? Okay. Anyway. Thank you for showing up, Elle. Analog Synth Player and Fat Trick, hey. Crazy Pots, James B, BMCC, Julie, Patricia White, Bluesman, hi. Mark Anthony, hey Mark. Nice to see you. Hypocrites Matrix, Linda Gordon, hi. Space Indian, Kim Blanchard, Miss Blanche. Hi, everybody. So, Mark, when I see you and I don't see you saying, hello, Brett, I'm waiting for it. It showed up. Good. Oracle 11 T Lamb. Hi, everybody. Shauna Howard and Grout sees what you won't. So, yeah. Here we go. Right? Here we go. And, this blob of moisture, this blob of precipitation has moved over just a wee bit. But it's still in Texas with this very defined line of supercells activating, but it may have changed. I did look to see if there was any, no severe active weather alerts. Okay, that's good. I wish we had someone who could put up a page of severe electromagnetic frequency alerts. Not that there's a whole lot people can do to get away from it. We've got the radar taking place from Virginia, Kentucky, on downward. So we do have weather, though. First, I'm going to share with you Into Thin Air because he captured what I captured. So let me first show you what I captured. This was after the live last night at about 8, quarter after 8, my time in Idaho. But look at what is taking place. Look at what's taking place in Michigan. Those frequencies. Look at this. How you feeling, Michigan? Not good. So, this was Texas last night. Look at this. I mean, you have the activation of a supercell, and then it just develops this bizarre, like, tail, or what the hell is this? It's not precipitation. One frequency, more frequencies. If you look very closely, you can see it. Here's a frequency up here, and a frequency there, and a frequency here. Wow, these storms last night were just woof, energized by electromagnetic frequencies right here. Also going into Oklahoma, right here. It was pretty wild. Right here, another one right here, up here. And I did a rather cursory check of severe weather. I couldn't find anything. So if anybody knows of anything happening in Texas or Oklahoma or anywhere, please mention it in the chat. Look at these frequencies. And they seem to be pushing the harder rain to the west, keeping it from the east. All right. So, yeah, okay. Nevada. Now, this isn't the first time that I've seen the extremely low frequencies blasting away in Nevada, but with the fires taking place and these extremely low frequencies, and when you have these frequencies crossing one another, look into scalar weapons. Very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. So there they go. Out of Utah and right down here in Nevada, they're blasting away. that area. But this was I took another capture of it because no, actually, it was only like 15 minutes later that they added another shot of these extremely low frequencies. 1, 2, crossing. Okay, 3. Look at this. Okay. And they are using different frequencies because the colors indicate the frequency. And they seem, here's another shot. So crossing, there's a lot of crossing going on here. I'm going to have to go to my directed energy weapons or my weather modification book mark file, but unfortunately, an awful lot is suddenly disappearing. Well, has disappeared already. That was, wow, so many years ago that I was looking into the scalar technology, and sorry, my brain won't be able to retrieve enough to discuss it, but I'll try to find Tom Bearden's paper on scalar and then share it with you at some other time. But let's listen to Into Thin Air. The link is in the chat. There you go. So.
All right, everyone, welcome back. This is going to blow your mind. Once again, we are looking at Area 51. As these fires are going on in Southern California, they are laying something over Area 51. It's then being shot by the NexRad radar system. You can see that clear as day right here. It is then expanding and being dropped right over Southern California. And then take a look at what happens to Area 51. This is totally insane. This is not normal, and this is not birds or bugs. I can promise you that. There is something very odd going on with the military or something that's taking place in Area 51 and then being dropped in the sky, which is then carried over by the jet stream or some sort of wind pattern into Southern California. I talked about this yesterday when we predicted these wildfires based on a northwest anomaly that we saw, again from the NexRad radar system, which then led to insane wildfires in Ventura County. Now we are seeing more and more of this being dumped over Area 51 and then flows into Southern California. What is going on here? And then look at how the NexRad towers go absolutely berserk. There is no chance that this isn't related, my friends. This is now 2 days in a row we have captured this happening over Area 51 and flowing down into Southern California, exactly where these wildfires are. And I know a lot of people will give us a hard time for talking about this, but how can you not? This is not a coincidence whatsoever. And I'm going to continue digging into this to see exactly how long they continue this for. If you look close enough, you can find stuff like this every day on these satellite charts. All right, so one final time, let's dissect this right here. We have it dropped over Area 51, a perfect lineup with where
Come on.
where the base is. And just like yesterday, as soon as it's laid out, we have the zap coming from the radar, the same one coming from Nevada right here. Then we have the expansion as it moves into Southern California. Just like yesterday, those radars start going off and crazy. And that's when this disco party begins in Nevada. Check this out. This is just unbelievable to see happening and then have no one point this out. Just as the cloud is getting over Southern California where all the wildfires are, we start seeing the NexRad towers from different states crisscrossing right over Area Area 51. Those are where our scalar beams are happening. And this is just insane to watch. You can see that cloud dissipating over Southern California and the Baja. We'll backtrack. You can see it come back, and it originates right over Area 51, my friends. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please share this video. This one will get attacked for sure, but it's time.
But it's time for the adults to grow up and have conversations about what is taking place with our weather. Entire climate narrative shown up as a sham by Science Magazine, AAAS, the biggest scientist organization in the US, and Washington Post. Bezos allowed that? Huh. How long till everyone finds out? Meryl Nass, Dr. Meryl Nass, Maine, who has come out and warned all of us about the World Health Organization and their pandemic treaty, and also about that new product. New study claims that our current geological era is the coolest the Earth has been in 485 million years. I'd like to know how they know that. I'd like to know. Do they just make these numbers up? Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm going to post the link. I'm not going to get into it. Yeah, it's a shame that so many people, and I'm not talking about the people who have never encountered anyone mentioning weather modification. I am talking about those who have had the occasion to have adult conversation with other adults about what really is taking place with our weather. You need to look. You need to face yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself why you can't have adult conversation. You will not engage in adult conversation with people who have actually done the research about weather modification and geoengineering. And why is that so difficult? No, I won't. You're just a conspiracy theorist. That means you've handed your brain over to mainstream media and government officials, and you're just parroting back what they have said. Clearly, you have not done any research, so you're completely and utterly ignorant, just buying all of the horseshit that you hear from mainstream media and government officials. If you want to break that spell, then do some research. And then take back your brain from those government officials and mainstream media and begin to independently think for yourself. Yeah. So I just came across this channel today. I will post the link to this video. Alaska Skywatcher. And I subscribe just based on this one video. I think you'll understand why.
What's up, Skywatchers? What is up indeed? Friday, November 8th, 2024. We have more floods, fires, tornadoes, and hurricanes, and now escape monkeys from a research lab. Today, we're going to start in Spain, where a year's worth of rain fell in under 8 hours. Spain has also removed more than 200 dams in recent years, and I am seeing this very same thing happen across the United States. But that's another story. Just prior to the flooding in Spain, we saw some geoengineered skies. We also saw this ship, the Osman Khan power ship. Now, I couldn't say for sure, but the metal structure on this ship Sure reminds me of the HARP phased array high-frequency cross-dipole antennas. And just before the devastating floods hit, these orbs had made their appearance. From Philo of Byblos, the Watchers of Heaven were formed like an egg. Earlier this week, we saw tornadoes break out across Arkansas and Oklahoma. This radar clip from Oklahoma was sent to me by Jen Krenzel. Thanks, Jen. What I want you to notice is the phased array pulses being emitted. Phased array antenna systems have high pulse rates, high transmit power, and beam steering. And so this was my sky today. They spray the trails in the sky and then pulse these aerosols with high frequencies from NexRad. This infographic here shows us what phased array antenna pulses look like with water. We have fires burning from the East Coast to the West Coast. Tonight, we're only going to take a look at the Blue Mountain Fire in Pennsylvania and the Mountain Fire in California. The Blue Mountain Fire, or the Gap Fire, in Pennsylvania has burned 600 acres and is more than 50% contained. They are calling it a controlled burn now. I did see there was a huge amount of lithium discovered across western Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania also has several smart city initiatives. Every time we see disasters, floods, fires, we keep finding lithium deposits and smart city plants. We also find controlled and prescribed burns. Power companies are usually at fault of something. Cloud seeding and geoengineering are always taking place. Let's take a look at the mountain fire in California. The mountain fire has burned more than 20,000 acres with only 5% containment, forcing more than 10,000 people to evacuate and hundreds of homes destroyed, maybe more. That they've experienced 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and that reminded me of Lahaina, Hawaii. But what really got my attention was this next video clip.
And of course, knowing that these are homes that people live in, and hopefully everybody got out.
They are huge homes.
But the pets better move along.
It's got to be celebrity homes.
Make these shots easier for us to do, because for a while there, the winds, this is what actually brought the fire into this neighborhood. We're kind of
Makes you
moving
wonder.
from the south, from the west to the
Look
south,
at that.
and that's what brought the flames.
Look how big
And
these
now the
houses
winds are
are.
actually changing up once again, and now we can actually
Look at that,
see
y'all.
devastation, which is
Kind of weird.
It's
in Ventura County, California.
On this cul-de-sac, 5 on the other side, and all gone. So
What do y'all think?
neighbors, they probably all know each
Wow.
other. Now they're coming back to.
They say there's more than 20 homes like that.
Do you see how it's just the homes? That's a wildfire, really? Not in this mind, no.
Burning to the ground.
No forest fire, homes reduced to ashes and leaving no trace, but the trees are fine. They were not on fire. Kind of ironic for a forest fire. So I recorded this radar anomaly on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, out of central Mexico. This next clip I saw on Into Thin Air.
Okay, so the link is in the chat again. I think you should check out this channel. And my hunch is that you will subscribe. And I'm cutting it off there because I've shown Into Thin Air, this video in particular, a number of times. So, yeah, okay, the sham of climate change. I'm going to post the link again. Maybe you'll want to circulate it. And I want to thank my subscriber for sending it along. And yeah, thank you, Alaska Sky Watcher. 132 structures destroyed. Mountain fire.
This morning, we're getting a clearer picture of all the destruction from the mountain fire in Ventura County. Assessment teams, they've been out there and they've identified more than 100 structures have been destroyed. Many of them families' homes.
And for many of these families that we have talked to, they say they've lived there for decades. Everything they own now destroyed, reduced to rubble. NBC4's John Caddy's Klimac is live in Camarillo with a look at this damage. So John, you've been there for a few days now, and you seem to still be kind of struck by the absolute devastation here. You just can't get your head around it.
You know, not just the devastation, but the homes that survived. The question being, you know, how did houses all around them burn, and then these homes survive? Joel and I were talking about it. I'm going to give you a theory that we kind of have with it. Behind us, you see this house. Now that we got some daylight, you know, this time of day with the time change, we get to see a little bit more at 6:30 in the morning, because I want to point out just to our right, down this little, basically down this little canyon here, more homes that have burned. What's left of a home down there, further up the hill, another one over here.
You see all of this very dry foliage, and for some reason the fire just missed all of that. The theory is the embers just flying with those winds. Come on. It's very tiring.
Why not others? And we talked to some folks who lost everything. They are devastated.
Propane tanks were blowing up, and he was just trying to do whatever he could to save a place that has been home for us for very many years.
It is heartbreaking to hear these stories, and we do have some, I guess, good news, you can say. Governor Newsom was here yesterday taking.
Yes, he declared, you know, an emergency and yada, 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 as they do. Brush fire breaks out in the Palisades along the Hudson River. Okay. Well, in all of my years living in New York, never, ever. But there's a drought in the Northeast and everything's dry, and I guess there's wind and boom, a fire.
And right now, crews are on the scene of a brush fire near the Palisades Parkway, just about a mile north of the GWB, creating a smoky scene that you can see and smell for miles. As you can see, that smoke being pushed right across the river to Upper Manhattan. Unclear how the fire started. And a second wildfire also is burning about a half a mile away. I don't call these wildfires, more brush fires. Welcome back to CBS News New York. I'm Chris Raggy. It could turn into a wildfire at any time, but right now these are brush fires. Let's get back to that breaking news. We've got team coverage on the scene of this fire with the very latest. Let's begin with Elijah Westbrook. He has been monitoring the fire from across the river in Washington Heights, where you've really had the best vantage point until we got the chopper in the air.
This time, there are multiple fires burning at this time. Earlier, I don't know if I jumped the gun by saying that it seems like things were clearing up. You can't really see the flames, but again, a lot of thick white smoke billowing in the air. A lot of that smoke heading in our direction on this side of the Hudson. Again, we're live in Upper Manhattan. We even have residents in the Bronx reporting that they are seeing the smoky conditions, even smelling it. We know that the FDNY has been reporting that they're getting phone calls about this, about people smelling the smoke. So certainly be mindful when it comes to that, but also.
And there are a lot of very expensive homes up there, so I sure hope that they're okay. So our snow is not what it used to be. It's very slick, and boy, snow hits that interstate and boom, sheet of ice. What's going on? Okay. Colorado, up in New Mexico, but we've seen this throughout the years, and this little bit of snow should not cause this.
New Mexico, United States of America, November 8th, 2024.
Do it, driver. You can do it. Come on, let's go. Woo, look at that.
More than 100 vehicles were stranded after a tractor-trailer overturned on a rural New Mexico highway as a severe winter storm swept through northern New Mexico and Colorado on Thursday.
Oh, wow. They're blocking my way. Even this FedEx right here. And I have a traction. I've been waiting here for almost 2 hours.
Okay, so Colorado, this is not severe snow. Maybe up in New Mexico, but New Mexico also gets snow. This is not. Something is not quite right with our snow. As so many of you know, throughout the years, we have seen, it's not the natural snow that we used to get. Very slippery. Spain hit by another disaster today. This is not Barcelona. This now is these two areas of Spain. Here we go.
Más de 10, no, más de uno.
Okay. Link is in the chat if you want to watch more. But if you have not subscribed to these weather channels, you might want to click on the link and subscribe to Undersphere so that you know what's going on. Look at this. Look at these cars. This is what we see now. Right? Well, Catalonia. Catalan town. Was this the same? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, man. This is not going to stop. This is what we live now. Destruction, destruction, destruction. A volcano in Indonesia. And yeah, city covered with lava and ash.
A volcano in eastern Indonesia erupted more than 6 times today, sending giant ash 8 kilometers into the air, in the cacophony of lightning as residents in nearby areas tried to flee.
Look at that. Ugh. Well, yes, they have the technology to erupt volcanoes, create the earthquakes. We know. I deserve answers. This is a woman living in an apartment in Florida, just showing you that it doesn't matter where it is in the country. People are being treated like trash, like, ignored. There's no respect. Even when it's a safety issue, forget about it. I don't have time for you. Renters especially.
Live, this is News Channel 8 at 6 on your side.
Imagine living for weeks under a roof with a gaping hole in it. That is the reality for a Bay Area woman who says nothing's been done since Milton. Good evening. I'm Stacy Scheibel.
And I'm Keith Kate. Thank you for joining us tonight. This Bradenton woman is pleading for someone to do something, anything, to patch up her apartment.
She has been waiting for repairs for weeks, and News Channel 8's Lenny Supal reports tonight from Bradenton.
A very devastating situation. We took her complaints to the property managers of Venture Rental Apartments. They said they are aware about the situation, but no word on a solution. And tonight, there's worry conditions are getting worse. Tonight, roof damage from Milton's wrath on full display. High winds ripped the shingles off Kimberly Alexander's Bradenton apartment, leaving this gaping hole in her bedroom. Recover from the storm.
No, can't.
It's been 4 weeks since the storm hit. Panels of insulation hang from the ceiling, her furniture caked with residue from drywall. And when it rains, her problems get worse, her patience wearing thin.
Start something. Just start something to keep out the birds, keep out the bats, keep out the insects, and all of that. Just keep that out.
Kimberly called the property manager right after the storm, but the damage still hasn't been addressed.
But start something. Don't say nothing. And don't tell me nothing. Give me answers, because I deserve answers.
We tried getting answers as well, making our way to the Bayshore and Venture Rental office, but walked away with more questions. The staff says they're unable to discuss details about the site.
I told her, I'm praying for you. Something's going to happen. I'm not going to give up.
Tonight, a Good Samaritan is stepping in, but worried.
We're going to get a lot of rain, though. There's going to be mold. That's going to be even more dangerous. Diseases. There's a number of things that can happen, and it's completely unsafe.
Another day with no solution.
Fix a roof or tarp it or temporary fix it, because this is where we live.
We took Kimberly's concerns to the county as well. They said that the damage wasn't initially spotted during their drive-by assessment, but it's ultimately up to the property owner to make repairs.
Getting really tired of this, for sure. And I'm surprised that she hasn't been, thrown out. Well, it's uninhabitable. Perhaps the focus on it, that may very well happen. Neighbors rally around family who lost their son in a home explosion. Homes are exploding in an awful lot of all over the country. This in Utah.
That have been here all day trying to determine the cause and origin of this explosion. And at one point, there was a strong smell of gas as the gas company ripped up the road behind the backside of the house. But getting answers, as Danny mentioned, is going to take time. In the meantime, neighbors are jumping into action with blue ribbons and lights to honor the family's 15-year-old Bingham High School student who was killed.
Ah, man. Okay. Flooding in Orangeburg. This is in South Carolina. The flooding is getting worse. In South Carolina, okay? I didn't see any severe weather alert on South Carolina, but those rivers. The rivers are coming up. You get a little bit of rain. Oh, the house is flooded. The roads are chewed up.
Are irreplaceable.
There's a lot of sentimental stuff. Christmas stuff.
All right, back to Orangeburg County now, where residents there are, some of them not even started cleaning up yet because the water hasn't receded. But certainly this is going to take a lot of work as folks are left
Ooh.
without power, and dozens of roads today were washed out and deemed unsafe to travel. News 19's Shelley Garzone has been down in Orangeburg all day surveying the damage. And Shelley, you're standing in front of what I don't even know what it is behind you, but it certainly looks like a mess.
Yeah, Andrew, that's right. Like you mentioned, we spent the day in Orangeburg County, and like Brianna said, the city of North is where, or the town of North, excuse me, is where we saw the most damage so far today. Lots of flooding, lots of residents experiencing damages in their house. And the city of Orangeburg itself is not any exception to that severe flooding that you'd mentioned. And behind me is the Edisto Memorial Gardens, and you can see the roads are completely cut off, and these roads are just completely unrecognizable tonight. Lots of residents out here trying to take pictures and get a better idea of this flooding that the city is experiencing. And of course, law enforcement is urging people to stay off the roads as much as possible tonight as they try and clean up some of these roads and until this water clears. And like I mentioned earlier, I spoke with some residents in North who said that they have never seen such mass flooding before.
We never dreamed of this happening at our house. Never.
Travis Chavis is one of many residents who experienced heavy flooding at his home after 13.5 inches of rain fell in the northeastern part of Orangeburg County Wednesday night.
It busted so much pressure on there, it busted one of our water lines now. So not only did we have the rain with the flood, we have a busted water line also going into the water as well.
Chavis says his family pumped water out of their basement for nearly 5 hours. Losing mementos, he says, are irreplaceable.
There's a lot of sentimental stuff, Christmas stuff, fall stuff, a lot of stuff that our kids made that we can't replace.
Other residents in North say they could barely leave their homes Thursday morning.
And I didn't have any idea that it was as bad as it was in my mudroom down there, but that's where all my freezers are, and the wash machine and all that's underwater.
Debbie and Sam Tucker say law enforcement offered to evacuate them from their home by boat due to heavy flooding. They say their vehicles suffered lots of damage.
We're going to have to probably cover it under the insurance as well, so I think it's probably gone.
What's going on? What's going on? All right. I wish I could, come across something that would tell me that they can literally pull the waters up from underneath the ground. My hunch is that they could, but and a whole lot of mainstream media reporting and saying, 13 inches, 20 inches, this is it. How do we even know that? They had rain. So the rivers now are flooding out homes. Okay. Never happened before. And South Carolina, 43 monkeys are still on the loose in Low Country. Oh, God.
Well, it's a story that's going to need national attention. Just the last 24 hours, the search on for a set of furry escapees on the loose in the Low Country. We're talking about 43 primates which broke out of the Alpha Genesis facility on Castle Hall Road in Yemassee yesterday. This was video from viewer Mia Mitchell of one of those monkeys. Now, the owner of the medical research complex tells me that someone was cleaning out one of their enclosures early yesterday, left the door open enough so the rhesus monkeys could run free. Since then, there have been a series of sightings on top of warehouses, even at the local food bank, but none of the primates have been captured. They each weigh about 5 or 6 pounds and have a tendency to run in a pack. Town officials say while they are telling folks to keep their doors and windows shut, these monkeys are not dangerous to people.
We want to ensure that the community is aware there is no public health risk associated with these animals. Despite the work they do there, these animals are not infected with anything. They're healthy. They're skittish in nature. We were informed that they're all females, so they'll typically congregate in a large group. To keep your doors and windows secured, prevent the primates from entering the home. And again, not because they're violent in nature, but because they're inquisitive, probably getting hungry.
Now you can.
Yeah, I would think that they're getting hungry. 43, these monkeys just, oh, well. There's a door open, so we're just going to run right on out. This is weird. Life is just so weird. I'm just going to play 2 minutes of this. It's Western North Carolina. The numbers. You have to understand that when we have these events, mainstream media never reports the true number of those who died. I think we all know that, right?
And get this out there so people can kind of understand what happened. Now, the death toll, somebody commented last night, what about the body count? The death toll is still unknown. This is an area where they don't want to talk about it. The majority of the homeless population in Asheville is gone. There's no trace of them. And unless a family has reported a missing, they're not even talking about that. But anyway, there's a lot of people still missing. Now, if you look on the news, you're going to see where they say only 20 more is missing or something like that. That body count that they've got is way, way off. They're downplaying it. If there's any downplay at all, most of the regular media's dropped the subject now, and it's being pushed by the wayside. They're more concentrated on the election and stuff, and less on anything that happened with Hurricane Helene. So the death toll is still unknown. May never be known. There's a lot of people back in those mountains that are still unaccounted for. If you've seen any of the videos that Eustace Conway's putting on, he's saying, and he's up in the northern part where I was at, up above Watauga County in Deep Gap, North Carolina. That's where he resides. He says the numbers is in the thousands. And, you know, he's a mountain man. He knows a lot of these people back up in the hills and such. He's probably got a pretty good idea himself. But you're not going to hear those numbers out of the government. They're trying to keep it. It sounds like in the 200 range, because between all the 6 states it was hit during this thing, and a lot of Appalachia tore all to pieces. They're saying 215 as of yesterday.
No.
But we know that's way off. There was 70 bodies in Lake Lure tagged, and they quit counting. And that came from one of the sheriff's deputies up there. There's 10 million cubic yards of debris, and that's a conservative estimate. If you remember, they talked about just in the Appalachian Mountains right there, the debris field covered a length of 600 miles long. Now that is a tremendous amount of stuff, and a lot of that stuff is compacted like concrete due to the silt and the mud that was forced in there and filling in all that brush and debris and stuff. It's taking excavators to dig it out. The amount of rainfall that fell in western North Carolina was 31.33 inches of rain.
All right, the link is in the chat again. Did he go over? I apologize. I was not paying very close attention. Did he go over the homeless that were living up in the Appalachian Mountains? And they're gone. They're gone. Mental health, life-changing forever. Mental health teams deployed to aid Hurricane Helene survivors. It's a trauma that the only good thing I can say about that trauma is that there's a lot of people experiencing the same trauma. So you can access, people who can probably provide the solace that you need. But we've got a lot of trauma going on all over the country. Now it's the fires in California with all of these people losing their house. When this kind of stuff happens, there's a lot of focus on it for the first week. There was a lot of focus for the first month. I've never seen this in all of the 14 years posting on all of these weather events. I have never seen people come together and seen the amount of people posting on what took place in Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee for an entire month. Now it's slacking off. That's when people begin to really experience the aloneness of it all, though there are people in their community who are experiencing the same thing. I wish we could maintain a focus on all of the events, but we go from one event to the next event to the next event, forgetting about the events that took place before, and you don't recover from this. A whole lot of people won't recover from this, ever. Those who have a shot, it still takes years. And then you live with the after effects. So you're still living in the same area, and when it rains, there's like a PTSD effect for an awful lot of people. How do I know this? Just from posting and listening to an awful lot of people who have gone through the flooding, the tornadoes, the wildfires, and listening to them explain that, when it rains, it becomes like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? But let's listen to a few minutes. This is in Jasper, Tennessee.
Natural disasters can destroy buildings, homes, and even communities. As residents work to recover from the impact, they can also experience mental health issues. The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency sent a mental health team to areas impacted by Hurricane Helene to help address mental health concerns. Take a listen.
A phrase that we often use is you're having a normal reaction to an abnormal event.
Severe weather events that destroy homes, rip roads apart, tear down buildings, and even displace families.
The impact of trauma after a disaster is significant.
Impacts hitting both survivors and first responders.
From, shell shock to grief to fear and anxiety. Also for the responders who are, they've experienced trauma of their own and just need time to process that.
With a focus to provide aid and a safe place for disaster victims after experiencing a traumatic event.
If they only needed somebody to talk to and listen for a little bit, then they had that. If they needed some guidance to get some faith assistance, then we would either perform or provide that and get them in touch with somebody that could help them better. And if they needed behavioral health, mental health, or connection to a prescriber or another counselor, we could build that bridge for them too.
Working almost 3,000 hours in affected areas, according to TEMA.
We had a little over 4,400 one-on-one crisis interventions that were provided by the 87 folks that we sent up there.
Working to help those without homes, roads, lost family, and more. All
the best way to help these people is all of the physical needs have them get those needs met and then deal with the emotions afterwards. But the best source, for people is finding other people who have gone through the experience. They're the ones who can really help them. But, the amount, just 2024. So I was trying to find lists of all of these severe weather events. Tornadoes in our country for 2024, a lot. January 9, Florida, Alabama. January 9, North Carolina. March 14, Ohio. March 14, Indiana, Ohio. April 26, Iowa. April 27, Oklahoma. April 28, Texas. April 30, Kansas. May 6, Oklahoma. May 8, Tennessee. May 10, Florida. May 13, Louisiana. May 21, Iowa. May 25, Texas and Oklahoma. May 26, we've got Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky. June 5, Louisiana. June 16, New York. August 8, North Carolina. September 26, Georgia. October 9, Florida. That's just tornadoes. And just in 2024. Tried to find a list of flooding, but it's kind of bizarre. Okay. All right. Come on up. Come here. Come. I know. You want to say hello to everybody? Do you? Wow. So, like the list of tornadoes, no list of floods. And 2024 for the floods on Wikipedia, how bizarre. Central Asian floods, France, United Kingdom, Persian Gulf, Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil, Nepal, Central European floods, Spain floods. And they don't have 2024 US floods. That seems a little bizarre, but you know that there have been a lot. I've shown you a whole lot of them. So when you think about the trauma that people are going through in Western North Carolina, well, those are the people who are just added to, the long list, very long list. And it's not just 2024, 2023, and you have an awful lot of people who just can't recover. You're talking a whole lot of people hurting, a whole lot of people who are in need. And this is just from the weather events. So it's really pretty, it's very sad, actually. Not pretty, very sad. So, yeah, the lying, man. Boy, people of the lie. I just came across this. Why does California still trust Gavin Newsom with all his lies and empty promises? Why? 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 That will be a question that I will have until the day I die. Why? Why do we put up with liars? Why do we lie ourselves? Why do we accept them? Why don't we hold anybody accountable for their lies? But really, you're going to be ruled over by liars who live fabulous lives, corrupt to the bone, no moral character, and these are the people that we can't get rid of. And once again, I will play this, okay? And this is the president today. No, we don't hold anyone accountable.
Biden may have more explaining to do. The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and, in fact, ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Joe Biden was victimized by the truth.
Bye-bye Biden. He may not know it yet, but I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover.
Is Joe Biden dead meat, yes or no?
I think so.
Bob?
Terminal condition.
Terminal. Eleanor?
Yes, unless he comes in third in Iowa.
Morton?
Dying.
I say dead.
88. 1988, okay? This guy has been lying for his entire career. And there he is, president now. Why? Oh, I think laziness. I think fear in people. Oh, I can't hold anybody accountable. They'll disapprove of me. That's why a lot of people just accept all of the lies and just they're silent. They say nothing. Well, that was the wrong course of action to take because it got us right here. White House press secretary on Trump's victory. Yeah, listen to this, okay? Lying is just common parlance for Americans. That's just what they do. And it's really, it wears you out. It really wears you out.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good to welcome back to some of you out there who are on the trail. Good to see you all. Okay, as you just heard from the President Biden, he spoke with President-elect Trump to congratulate him on his victory. He also assured him that he would direct his entire administration to work with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power. That is what the American people deserve. He also spoke with the Vice President to congratulate her on a historic, inspiring campaign. And for some people, this election is a time of victory, and others, it's a time of loss. To state the obvious, Tuesday's night's results were not our team's desired outcome. There's going to be a lot of post-mortem analysis of what happened in the coming days, in the coming weeks, even in the coming months. And so I'm going to leave those questions to the election experts. That is certainly not my role today. But what you heard from President Biden is that The struggle for the soul of America since our very founding crosses generations and is always ongoing. It is still important today. The president and the vice president accept the choice the country has made. And because the president has said this many times, you heard him say this moments ago in the Rose Garden, you can't love your country only when you win, and you can't love your neighbor only when you agree. The president also spoke to the importance of the integrity of the American election system. It's honest, it's fair, and it's transparent. And it can be trusted, whether you win or you lose. The president and vice president are proud to be leaving behind the strongest economy in the world. And the president and the vice president are proud to have changed America for the better. That's going to be their focus in the upcoming remaining days. You heard the president say that we have 74 days left of his administration, and they are going to make every day count on behalf of the American people.
Oh God, you should be scared. Every day is going to count until they're out of there. It's the best economy in the world. Now, that's not saying much because an awful lot of Western countries are going down, right? We all know that we have so many Americans going off the financial cliff every day. To hear this, the strongest economy in the world, I'm so unbelievably tired of the lies. They're dangerous. They're dangerous, okay? So for someone who's into, yeah, I'm going to believe those lies. I want those lies because I'm doing okay. Those around me aren't doing okay, but we have the strongest economy in the world. So they're doing something wrong, and I don't have to care about them. A whole lot of parents do that to their adult children. That's why this is so dangerous. Even those who know, they still accept all of the lies. The truth is demanding. The truth actually does demand your time, your energy, and to speak it in this country is very challenging. It's very challenging to live honestly and speak honestly, because you'll find out there's not a lot of people who do it, and they don't like it. And I'm talking about the ordinary people. I'm not talking about these, just professional propagandists and liars. And if you don't have truth, you ain't got squat. You have nothing. And everything becomes just meaningless. So here, I'll show you. Talk about living in just a morally vapid country. Rachel Maddow. Oh, wow. It is remarkable how much money this woman makes. And all she does is lie. All she does is lie. Could you accept a position? I don't, is it 30 million a year or something? Could you accept a position if you were being paid 30 million to lie as a reporter when you know that you're supposed to be, well, objective and tell your viewers the truth? Speak, speak the truth to power. Could you just accept it for the 30 million and do this every day? It's Americans on both teams, those outside the matrix. We all need to face ourselves in the mirror. It is immoral to just listen to lies and never call people out on them. It's immoral. You have an obligation to one another, especially if you're friends or if you're family. Of course you have an obligation. Those relationships have an obligation built within them. It's inherent. And you want, if you see the kind of behavior that is immoral, then you want to call your friend or family members out so that they can be the best that they can be, and also accept the calling out, from friends and family of your behavior. That's how we manifest something better than we have. Takes courage, but hey, it is profoundly sad to me that this is what we live.
But now history doesn't end. Time doesn't stop. Now we have the benefit of knowing, how this has gone in every other country that has been through a democracy to authoritarian transition.
Okay. So now with Trump winning, we are going from democracy to authoritarianism, as if we're not already in that authoritarianism. And you know what, mad cow, just want to say to you that just because you call something a democracy doesn't mean it's so. We don't have a democracy. We sure as shit don't have a constitutional republic. Yeah. So you haven't noticed any authoritarians on your team? You're not supposed to have a team. Aren't you like a news, reporter? You're supposed to be objective. You're not supposed to have a team, Rachel. But this is what we have now. Not news, just listening to the opinions. The opinions of an awful lot on the left, for sure, right? But this is what they're telling their viewers, the Democrats, the liberals, that we are now transitioning to authoritarianism, and they believe it. That's what is the scary part. They actually believe it.
And sadly, there are a lot of them. We have the benefit of seeing what's happened in those other countries, though. And what we know is that the more ground the authoritarian takes, the harder it is to ever get that ground back. And so the first order of business is to stop them from taking any uncontested ground right from the outset when it comes to what our system of government is and what our democracy is, right? From other countries' experiences that quickly, now, in the next few weeks, if not the next few days, they are going to start pushing to see how far the country is going to let them go without pushback, without protest. And part of this is because it's just psychologically advantageous for them to do this now, right? They're counting on the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that doesn't want to give up our system of government. They're counting on all those tens of millions of Americans to be despondent, to feel powerless, to check out, which of course would mean letting them do what they want, letting them run the table. What they really don't want is for the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that wants to keep our democracy. What they really don't want is for those tens of millions of Americans to wake up tomorrow feeling scrappy as hell.
Half of the country does not want a democracy. Half of the country wants, the dictatorship under Trump. Half of the country wants the authoritarianism. That's what she's saying. So she's telling her base as a news reporter that everybody should have such, just like, get rid of this person who tells you what you should be thinking, and is really just a liberal Democrat propagandist. And we've permitted this from mainstream media for way too long. So she's telling her base, get out there and fight. Stop this authoritarianism. Nip it in the bud. She never tells her viewers how authoritarian is their own team. What they've been doing. The censorship, the mandates to get that new product, the lockdowns, you're not essential. Too bad. You don't get to have an income now. You got to stay home. Put that distance between everybody, 6 feet. The economy getting trashed. Nobody caring. Okay. The authoritarianism coming from school boards, unions, teachers' unions. Authoritarianism taking away the rights of parents, and schools and teachers can now, without parental consent or even talking to the parents, can, if their child in elementary school decides that, well, I was a girl yesterday, but I want to be a boy, so you call me Roy, and the teachers will just start doing that without even discussing it with the parents. Is that not authoritarian? We're such a warped country, man. And so many just can't even think. So the Rachel Maddows get to live extraordinary, luxurious lives, lying and keeping, the Democratic base on edge, angry, got to get out there and fight. For what? Do they actually think that the Democrat politicians care about them? Could they possibly think they care about them? That's frightening. And yeah. Okay. Well, I guess you wouldn't expect anything different from this one.
So how's everybody's nerves about this election? Let's say on a scale of 10 being can't think of anything else and may need some additional medication, I'm like at a 7. And I just think with all those people showing up for Kamala, I don't think it's as close as they're saying it is. I really don't. And I think that the dumpster, the hate rally manager, that guy, the orange dumpster fire, him.
Gosh, poor Rosie is so filled with hate. She can't even say President Donald Trump's name. That seems unhealthy. But at least she didn't start crying like J-Lo.
I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional. But you know what? You know what? We should be emotional. We should be upset. We should be scared and outraged. We should. Our pain matters. We matter. You matter.
Is she talking to P. Diddy's victims there? What was that all about? Yes, interesting performance from Joe.
I will leave the link. You can watch more, but I really do think that these people are well, they sure do cater to the emotions and not the intellect, right? We know that. But really, why do people listen to these people? That's what I don't understand. They do, though. Certainly those who are younger, they do. And that was, you know, I'd like to understand, J-Lo, man, how many facelifts have you had? You look weird. You don't look like Jennifer Lopez anymore. But really, all right. Can't these people reason? Can't they see that Harris has done nothing? Nothing. She had 4 years, did nothing to improve any of these lives. And yet they're gung-ho to get her into the presidency when she's done nothing. All right. There was this video here, leftist outrage. This is, there are the meltdowns going on, but I still maintain that it is much calmer out there than 2016, 2020. Okay. But there's growing voices towards the get out there and fight. We have, you know, the top Democratic leadership saying peaceful transition. Will it be? Will it be? I don't know. But I'm going to actually, I think I can get, yes. Good.
Be honest.
Sorry. This is Misha Petrov. And I will link to her video because she goes through a lot of the crazies with, you know, very quick but good responses. See, that is also the problem. All right. We know how hateful, how intolerant is the left. That's where all of the hate is coming from. That's where the intolerance is coming from. They literally go berserk when you don't agree with them and you have a different opinion, or, you know, God forbid you should bring in facts and evidence. They don't care to listen to that, but they call you names. And really, they just want you dead. So they can't see that's how they are. When you're in a bubble, you get, you know, your way of being in the world, your way of operating in the world, confirmed all the time by the bubble members. Thinking the same, doing the same, have the same opinions, you view on, you got to leave your bubble to grow. You got to leave your bubble to begin to maybe analyze, examine all of those beliefs that you have, your views, your opinions. Okay, well, most people never do that. But I will say this, and I've experienced it. It's when you respond, they come out after you because you happen to have a different opinion. And you respond to that, that then is they then telling the world that you're hateful. It's the response to their hate. And it's all projection, projecting out what they do to others. It was the best thing I ever did, was to leave my tribe. I wish I found another tribe because it's very hard living life without one. But yeah, I was a Democrat decades. That was my social network. I understand that when you don't question anything, you think that, you're the right. You're right. You because everybody else is confirming for you, your view is right. So you believe you're right and they're wrong. And that's a horrible. I did it. I didn't question any of the Democrat policies. Why would I? Because to expand my social network, out, I had my close friends, and then I had, friends and acquaintances and people I worked with, and everyone is confirming everybody's views. There's no reason to question anything. And you just think you're right. And it's very dangerous. It's a very sloppy way to think. I never questioned any of the Democrat policies, not even abortion. I think somewhere subconsciously, I thought, well, I was always the stupid one. I was in my family. So I kind of carried that with me, but I was around a lot of educated people. And then I became educated, but it didn't matter whether I was educated or not. That was my social network, surrounded by people who I thought were very intelligent, far more intelligent than I. And why would I question all of those beliefs? Because, well, somebody must have. Subconsciously, you just think somebody must have. Yeah, we all think that we're right. So somebody must have. And I'm just, well, you kind of adopt the beliefs and you adopt this idea that somebody in your social network must have questioned everything and you're fine. And it didn't work out that way. It really didn't. But if you respond to their hate, then you become hateful. What a sick world we're living in. It really is profoundly disturbed. So I'm just going to play a few minutes of this. Yeah.
It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women.
It was a great night. It was a fantastic night.
For children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
If they're here legally, they'll be fine.
For our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy.
Walking down the street to go get my medication because I'm out and I need it for today.
Another septum piercing.
Then I saw a woman walking her two kids and she had this look on her face. And I looked at her, we made eye contact, we both kind of nodded.
And you cried because of that haircut?
Like we were both just devastated. And you could just tell in her eyes.
My sadness is over. My anger has set in. I am a very petty person, and I am very proud of that. Love it about myself, actually. And so I say this in the most disrespectful way possible. I don't care if you are my family. I don't care if you're my friend. I don't care if we've been friends our entire lives. You can literally go for yourself if you voted for Donald Trump. If you are so sad about your groceries being expensive, get a better paying job. Do better in life. Get a education. Do something, because you are stupid. And I hope you go jump off of a bridge.
Okay, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. When I left my bubble and started driving around the country and talking to an awful lot of people that I would never have spoken to if I had not left my bubble, a whole lot of conservatives, a whole lot of people who grew up with guns and it was just part of their lifestyle. Oh, but I'm with the, educated liberal Democrats in the Northeast and guns. What? No. Okay. Yeah, I found Republicans much more tolerant. They really just wanted to be left alone and could give a shit what other people were doing. Much more mature. Much more mature. And you wouldn't hear a Republican saying something like that. It's very interesting. The arrogance, especially with the liberals in the Northeast, the arrogance is so thick. And yeah, there were sharp differences between Republicans and Democrats that I had never, ever seen before. Before I just said, I can't do this with these people anymore. My tribe. And that's a good way. And it's a kind of quick way, to get yourself unindoctrinated. And it's true, whether Republican or Democrat, you have to meet people where they are at and talk. And then you learn, wow, I wasn't right on an awful lot. And these people aren't scary.
If this was the other way around, I mean, okay, first of all, because of all the trigger warnings and the censorship, we can never say that, like, to unalive someone. But watch how they turn it. Watch how it's fine to direct that towards people that they disagree with. It's amazing. I'm so glad this is happening. I'm so glad that they are showing their true colors. Trans brothers and sisters, their mental health. Oh, and the gay and the women and the black. We have to focus on our mental health. Everyone hates us. And then Trump supporter, doesn't matter actually if they're a woman, gay, black, doesn't matter anymore. Go yourself. I hope you jump off a bridge. I hope you get raped. I hope your children get raped. I hope you die. I'm gonna set you on fire. I want to eat you. Fantastic. Keep it going.
White people, white women especially, at this moment, do not go to your black, your indigenous, your immigrant, your queer, your trans.
My queer, where did my queer go? My black, where are you? My indigenous, what the f is she talking about? You think they're like little pets or something? What are you saying?
Do not go to that person in your life that you feel is a little bit more oppressed than you are, because obviously you're feeling oppressed, and ask for like help with it. I don't care how you voted. I don't care how hard you worked. I don't care. I don't care. You're not an exception to this. Just so we're clear. I thought it couldn't get too much more reasonably worse today.
I don't know whether to ask, did you forget to take your meds or you need meds? I think we're past the point of meditation. A lot of you seem to like the crystals. I think we're past that point too. Thank you.
I think we're past the point of meditation, and medication. Yeah, well, when you have people that these people actually respect, I mean, these, okay, and they're inflaming their emotional self by saying, get out there and fight. Oh, Trump is an authoritarian, and all of the Trump supporters are wanting to destroy this country and no, actually it's the opposite of what is taking place. But you see, this is scarier because you inflame these people. They're crazy already. What else? What else are they going to be doing? And, I listen to people give me one reason to vote for Kamala Harris. Can you think of anything that woman has done that has been good for the country? I can't. Not one thing. I can think of many things she's done that has been absolutely horrible. But my focus is the people. How could they think the way they do? They're so indoctrinated and so clearly stupid because she's already demonstrated that she's a complete failure. And they're rah-rah wanting her to be president. Isn't that strange?
Anybody want to give one reason to vote Kamala Harris?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Save our constitutional democracy.
All right. How about
this guy? Does he not know that we have what it's supposed to be is a constitutional republic, constitutional democracy? Really? Okay. So you bought all of the bullshit propaganda that Trump and Trump supporters want to destroy democracy, and you haven't noticed the Democrats destroying it? See, I find that very strange because these people think that they're intelligent. They do.
the First Amendment?
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. So are you aware of the Biden?
Freedom of speech. They have been the obvious censorship administration. Where are people getting their information from? It's okay.
Harris administration censoring true information online?
Just go away. I don't have, no.
Oh, yes. Go away. We're not going to talk to you anymore. That is a behavior that is consistent throughout. A whole lot of people don't want to talk to you anymore. I had my own friends do that to me when I was trying to have conversations about Obama, and that maybe he doesn't walk on water, and that maybe he is just like all the rest. But no, I was dark, I was negative, and I was shut up because really all they wanted to talk about was themselves and other people, gossip. And that's very typical of just get away. I never experienced that from a Republican who we were probably, talking about things that, we didn't, jive and disagreed, on points. Never did I experience that kind of response. They were respectful. So you Democrats, man, you ain't all that you think you are at all.
Now that we're all saying what we're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think if you voted for Donald Trump, you're ugly. I think you're all freaking ugly, and I think you're dumb as bricks. And I think you're a bigot in every sense of the word, every use of the word. I also not only won't care when all the bad stuff that's gonna happen happens to you, I actually want it to happen to you. I want your taxes to go up. I want things to be more expensive for you. I want you to have a complicated pregnancy. I want all that bad stuff to happen to you because that's what you deserve. Also, like, the only silver lining is it's actually going to suck for all you Trump voters way more than it's going to suck for us blue voters because we actually have educations and good jobs. Y'all are broke as fuck, so it's really going to suck for you when he raises your taxes a ton. Now that we're all saying what we're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think if you voted for Donald Trump.
The other thing is that, yes, Northeast, there is a violence in an awful lot of these Democrats. And just thinking back, you know, there was a violence within my own friends. They could not stand to have anybody confront them. So where is all of the violence coming from? Where is all this woman is an authoritarian. You vote for Trump? Well, you should die. Really? Okay. Just die. That's pretty authoritarian. But they can't see that because it seems very obvious to me. So obvious that it's shocking that these people could actually post videos of themselves claiming that it's the other side that's hateful, and all they do is spew hate. Well, the authoritarians and the 4B movement, oh my God, started in South Korea, women protesting on something in South Korea. They decided that protests would include no sex with men, no giving birth, no dating men, and no marriage with men. So actually, considering the 4B movement of the liberal Democrats taking place, this is actually taking place. I would think a lot of men are very, very happy. Good. Stay away. Stay away.
This video goes out to all of the women who have decided to shave their heads out of despair for the victory of Donald Trump. And I'm choosing to make this video despite the fact that my videos currently are being severely suppressed here on this platform, while, funny enough, are going viral on the other platforms that used to suppress us more. I don't know how it makes sense, but I'm gonna make this video anyway. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but shaving your head out of despair is a practice that has gone back for many generations in the indigenous cultures. Specifically, more so if they had lost a loved one, they would cut their hair, but it was more than that. They realized, they recognized, and they understood that this carries all of your past. So my biggest hope to you is that now you are free. You are no longer chained down to the ties that you once had to a very abusive party that did nothing but stoke the fears within you. No one is losing their rights. Not a single person. And especially not women. If anything, we are gaining more rights now that Trump is back in office. Because there are many more important rights for a woman than just whether or not she can cancel a birth. Important rights such as breathing fresh air, eating clean food that's not completely doused in toxins, having the choice of how to raise their family in the best way they think is possible. You have been lied to for a very long time. And now that you are free, I hope that you can begin to see the truth before your eyes. I understand that you might be feeling a lot of despair, a lot of anger, a lot of injustice maybe. But I want you to understand that that is exactly how every single person who has ever had to wake up for the first time has felt. These are very important emotions. They are there to be signals to you, not to act out of revenge, but to alchemize them into something productive. Allow them to make the necessary changes within you, within your heart. I am not a political creator. I am a spiritual advisor. I am a spiritual creator. I come from a place of objective research, a place of non-dualistic nature. Something I say all the time here on my page is that the world is neither black nor white, but it exists in a very interesting shade of gray, and that is exactly where you are being called to right now, is understanding that deep, deep wisdom. There are a lot of things that the left side are going to continue to try to make you fearful of in the future, especially in the next 2 months. I really encourage you to take this time, now that you are free, to do your own research. Look into things from an objective standpoint and try to understand why over half of this country chose this man. If it were any other man, if it were even a woman saying the same things that Trump was saying, I would support them as well. It's not about Trump. It's about what he represents. It's about what he's trying to do for this country. I would encourage you to look into the Unity Party that he is forming. I would encourage you to look into the websites that have already been developed, where they are asking us, the opinions of the American people, to put that input into these websites so that we can have our voices truly heard. No one is losing any rights. In fact, we might be gaining a few more. My heart goes out to you. It truly does. But I also see the amazing, powerful position that you are now in, now that you are free to make up your own mind. I love you.
I initially thought that she was a Democrat. I didn't listen to the full thing. But yeah. Okay. You would hope that there would be an awful lot on the other team that would be able to listen to this woman. But I don't think they're there. Because in order to listen to someone that's on the other team, it requires a maturity that the other team, the blue team, does not have. So and boy, do they need to really grow up. Maybe some of the older, Democrats from time gone by. Are you not looking at these younger Democrats that might be like, well, it's not just the young, because of that. There's an awful lot of the baby boomers who are just as crazy, but something's very wrong. And yeah, they think that their rights are being taken away. They'll never be able to have an abortion. That ruling, Roe v. Wade, was absolutely correct. Well, the ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade, putting it back into the states where it should be, with the states to determine for themselves what they want to do with that issue. Trump has said it's back in the states. There's nothing that Trump is going to do with that. But no, you have a lot of the TV pundits, the government officials on the Democrat side, claiming that when Trump becomes president, they'll just no longer have the right to have an abortion. There's no state that has made abortion a criminal offense. There's no state, and a whole lot of other states that are saying, hey, come here, if you get blocked in your state or whatever. But it is up to the states what they want. So why is everyone focused on Trump taking away your right to have an abortion? I just don't. If you're hearing that from your Democrat leaders, you are being misdirected. You're being lied to. You're being lied to. Okay? Hispanics in Texas voted for Trump because they're sexist. Okay. You want to, the View ladies, oh, they're, okay. Every Hispanic should be outraged at the View who claim that they voted for Trump because they wouldn't allow themselves to be led by a woman. Maybe there was something else, you
And finally,
nutcases.
we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's
Misogyny. So there's Sonny, who is literally putting down the 75% of Hispanics in Texas. She's literally claiming that they're sick with misogyny. These people are so profoundly arrogant and hateful. They think that they can say whatever it is that they think is going on, whatever they feel, and they don't care about the effect of what it is that they're saying. They don't even just stop to think about it. FEMA official ordered relief workers to skip houses with Trump signs. Okay. Whistleblower. It's almost unbelievable to think that somebody in the federal government would think that's okay. Well, that definitely makes you breathe deep. It's like FEMA's supervisor told workers in a message to avoid homes advertising Trump as they canvassed Lake Placid, Florida, to identify residents who would qualify for federal aid. Internal messages that were viewed by the Daily Wire. Okay, so who is the really sick party here? not the Republicans. Now, you all know how I feel about Trump and, out of the matrix. No, been there, done that, and done. But who got us here to be so divided? Obama. Obama started it. Biden's administration continued it. This division does not come from the Republicans. They're responding to the division. But really? Okay, so, and look, okay, this shows you every single U.S. county that voted for Trump. Look at this. Okay, that's a mandate. I'd say it's far more than half the country, and I do not believe that Kamala got the millions that they claim she got. I don't believe it. But it was obvious that Trump was going to take it big. If you just watched all of the rallies and Madison Square Garden, literally every seat taken, and so you knew that this was going to come about. And yet you have even California. Look at this. 2020, the red counties. 2024, whoa. Could California become red? Don't think so, because even in, there are, like, I was surprised at how the liberal Democrats had taken over a lot of the areas of Montana, and they were making the decisions for Montanans. The Democrats infiltrated an awful lot of conservative areas. When you see this in Maine, okay, Maine's a pretty big state with a small population, big physically, but Maine is essentially a conservative state, but the city of Portland rules the day. And that's not how it should be. But the unfortunate thing is that an awful lot of the conservatives that live outside those blue areas of Maine, right on the coast, a lot of the conservatives obey their government, so they give away their power to the Democrats. That has to stop. That really does have to stop. So look at this. All right. So you have an awful lot of California that is saying, to hell with the Democrats, don't want these policies anymore, would like something new. Well, we'll see. That's all I can say. But I'm going to put the link in. And if you listen to what Trump says in this, what is it?
Here's my plan.
Well, I'm going to play it. And I'm not going to be ending 7:30 sharp. But after listening to a lot of these Democrat crazies who are talking about this guy becoming, Hitler, and he's going to ruin our freedom and take away our rights and yada, yada. And a whole lot of, those on TV and government officials claiming that, we have to keep up the fight and we've got to fight them because they're going to take away our rights. This guy's an authoritarian. He's been called Hitler, okay? What do you think these people who believe the horse shit that they hear from their Democrat leaders about the other team, what do you think they're going to think when they hear this?
And to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all, and corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption. And there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every inspector general's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. It doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
So when I was listening to this, and that's all fine and good, you know, I don't look. They make promises, they keep them. He drained the swamp the first time. Now he's going to get rid of the swamp. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, but what do you think? All of these people who are just not that one, but how about that one? What do you think that they're going to think about this? Because they don't process information quite right, right? When they hear this, they'll think that it's authoritarian. He really is a dictator. He's going to do all this, and this is going to agitate an awful lot on the other team and scare them. And perhaps all of the others, those leaders that they have saying, get out there and fight, got to nip this in the bud, this authoritarianism that is coming to us as if it's not here already. We got to do something. They're going to be upset, scared, fear. Okay. So the calm before the storm. Yeah, all I can say is, since we know an awful lot of Americans really do not know how to think, and I'm not saying I think so clearly and beautifully and all that, no, but I have worked on it. Yeah, you got to work on the way you think and the way you process information. Get rid of that indoctrination and recognize, oh, wait, I am allowing somebody else to think for me. I'm going to bring my brain back into my body and do it myself. Yeah. And that takes an awful long time. So pay very close attention objectively to what is taking place. Objective means that you don't ignore, the bad things that your favorite leader does. Okay? Objective means you take everything into account, but pay close attention, because would I love to be able to post a video in 2 years, but I'm not going to be around in 2 years. 2 years and say, I was wrong. Oh my God. Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love it. But yeah, when you look closely at what this guy did for 4 years, what he did, not what he said, it's a good indication of what he will continue to do. So, but if I'm wrong, yeah, I'd love to be wrong. I've wanted to be wrong all along. I hate what this life has become here in this country. It's a game. It's a joke. It's a lethal joke, but anyway, live honestly and speak honestly. That's the only way that we can create something different and help those in need, Don't expect other people to make all of the changes and you sit back and reap the benefits. It's not the way it works. We all have to chip in. So thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Be safe out there and good night. Good luck. Ciao.